Welcome to Between the Lines, and we're talking with the Oak Ridge Chamber of Commerce tonight about a lot of different things coming up. Fall's the season. I mean, that's the season, fall and winter, and we've got a lot of going on in the city of Oak Ridge, and we have had for 75 years. It's the 75th anniversary of the Chamber of Commerce in Oak Ridge. I'd like to say I'm a founding member, but it's not. It wouldn't be true. I'm not even that old yet. But my father was. He was involved, him and Judge Frank Wilson and others in Oak Ridge, and just a lot of great people that were involved in those days. And it was exciting. They were all young in those days. We welcome Christine Michaels, director of the Oak Ridge Chamber, who is with us for the second time. We're doing our annual check-in.
Yes.
We did it last year, and things are growing and booming. We appreciate Daniel Forrester sponsoring our show and making it possible, along with other ads from energy firms you'll see. And we just try to bring community news and what we can do. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
October 5th, we're getting on with everything. So hopefully we'll have a good weekend and everything goes. Let's start out by talking about 75 years. Is that a good start?
Absolutely.
So that would mean 49. That's when they open the city gates.
Yep. So we are prepping for this coming year, 2024.
Okay.
And we're starting to put things in place, but we're really excited to be 75, and a lot of other companies celebrating important anniversaries, and I think it shows a lot about the stability of a community to have businesses and organizations that have been around that long and are still thriving. So we're pretty excited. We're going to be doing a few special things for that.
We'll talk about that. We have our 50th high school reunion, Oak Ridge High School class of 73, this coming Saturday. My understanding is I had two of my classmates parked in my driveway last night, and I said, who is this? And it was two of our classmates that are in town for the week before the reunion. So we have 207 people coming. That's huge. So we had 500 and something in our class, 550, 600, so that's 628 or something. Oak Ridge was big in those days. We had a lot of kids from the baby boomers. All of us were born in 55, so about 73, post-war babies. And all. But that's exciting, and I just mentioned that because Oak Ridge, history, all of that kind of stuff. What can you tell me about the Chamber 75 years ago? Anything?
Well, I know that we were actually instrumental in helping to get private businesses be able to purchase the land that they were on.
Okay.
And to get that property released.
Wasn't 49
into
the year they
property.
opened the city? Was that the year they opened the city, or was it later in 59?
It was, I believe, a year or so later.
Okay, so that would make it harder for you. You had to go work through the federal government to get those land purchased.
Absolutely. So, we were instrumental in a lot of projects back then. And I don't want to steal our thunder, but we're going to be putting together a little retrospective, and we've been going through our archives and finding some amazing photos from years and years ago, and taking a look at different decades and what the Chamber was engaged in.
That's great. I mean, that's what I would like to know more about, is exactly what that. I remember some things, obviously, from the 60s and 70s when I was a little kid, but I don't remember a lot. So I know that business was different. The downtown shopping center was everything. I mean, we had a great time down there. Jackson Square was thriving. We had Bruner's on the west end, but we didn't have a lot of these sub areas or these neighborhood. Actually, we had a lot of neighborhood stuff. Like you go up New York Avenue, where the school administration building is on the left, we had I live up on the top of an orchard, had a barbershop that was run by Mr. Bass, and then we had a grocery store, and then we had a school, Pine Valley, across the street. So everything was neighborhood centered in those days. You didn't have to leave your neighborhood for a lot.
Well, and that made sense because of why and how Oak Ridge was created, really, to keep pockets of people together and not have all of that intermingling, if you will.
I didn't think of that.
And chat, and loose lips sink ships and all that kind of thing.
I remember that billboard right down there when we come across Lafayette and get ready to turn left, go to Knoxville, and that was up there in the 70s. And a guy with the mouth construction worker said loose lips. You've seen that in the Chamber.
So I think it makes sense when you see Oak Ridge now, but when you explain that to a visitor, they're like, where's your downtown? Well, we have several, actually.
Well, we're trying to create a center downtown now, right?
Yes.
Same one we had before, I mean, in that sense. But you're right, it was down for a while. And I give a lot of credit to Mayor Gooch and other leaders in the community who have worked hard to try to get the necessary funding to do the things we need to do. We have a first-class theater. There's no question about that.
Yep.
I go in there. If that had been there when I was working 18 hours a day, I would have paid $10 to go in and take a nap in those chairs, and then just when the movie was over, I would have left after my 2 hour nap and gone back to work for another 8 hours. Those are so comfortable. Those loungers.
Well, we have as much here as cities of much greater population. have. And we're very lucky that we have that retail choice and we have those options here.
And the migration of so many Northerners and Midwesterners to Oak Ridge during the war effort brought us a tremendous amount of classical type client. We had our own playhouse, we had our own symphony. I mean, what town of 30,000 has their own symphony? I mean,
Exactly.
That's just
A lot to be proud of.
Yeah, there is a lot to be proud of. The world's changed, though. The world's changed. So the chamber went through a period, I'll call it, because I'm being active in the 90s and 2000s up to 2010. The chamber went through a period of intense energy development and involvement, and what we would say in the retail sector is a lack of, not interest so much, but is a lack of effort to help the retail community. I'm saying 20 years ago, 15, 25 years ago. I think that's turned around a little bit. I think you guys have done more effort with retail in the last 5 years, 3 or 4 years.
Well, and the positive thing is that a lot of retail is coming to us without having to actively seek it out. I think that we're really in the spotlight now. East Tennessee is a very popular area. Oak Ridge itself is gaining in reputation and popularity like maybe never before. And it's reflected in what retail is coming to us.
Let me ask you this. The preserve is growing exponentially
Oh,
out
my
on
gosh.
the west end, up to 700, 800 homes. So we obviously going to have our 5,000 growth in this decade is going to happen on the west end. And when we come back and we have 36,000 people in 2030, it's going to be because of growth on the west end. I mean, that's realistic when you look at it.
That's a big part of it, but it's actually balancing out now with some of the newer developments. So
Okay.
I think,
In
yeah.
Oak Ridge?
And
What
yes.
areas? Name me a new development outside.
Well,
of
the
it.
Summit. So the townhomes,
Okay,
the single-family
all right,
homes
all
out
right,
there.
all right.
There's been some new proposals that have come and are coming through the planning process.
And I think-
Main Street Lofts.
And I think I think Rick's property downtown has made a difference down there. Is that what it is?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know a lot of retired Oak Ridgers who graduated from high school, they're now in their 60s and 70s, who've just decided to live there because it's near downtown and they're over there. And that's just, those are people that are active. My best friend moved in there, I don't know, 2.5 years ago, and he's never left. He's older. I mean, it's just comfortable for him. All 1 floor.
Well, and it's so easy to get to,
Yeah. Drive across the street, get what you need, go shopping.
Exactly.
None of us are walkers, but we can drive short distances, you know what I mean? Right. So we don't walk unless we have to. That one need down, one need to go, so I don't know. My wife's bugging me, and I just got so much work I can't get to it. Well, tell me a little bit about the different segments of the, by the way, where was the chamber located 75 years ago?
I don't know.
I think it was in Jackson Square.
I've tried to find
wasn't
some
downtown.
pictures. The disadvantage that we're at, and we're certainly hoping that maybe Ray Smith can help us out.
Oh, he did a
but-
great job on my show. He was great.
Yeah,
Oh.
we have literally tubs of archives. So we've got all of these photos, and almost none of them are labeled.
And you need to figure
We don't
them
even
out.
know which decade
I
they're
need to
in,
come
some
down and
of
look at
them.
because I know lots in 60.
If you wouldn't mind, we would
I would
love
love
to
it.
have some help
So-
identifying.
So if we had this down here, and you put up one of those two, what do they call those things, like dividers, where you put pictures on both sides of them, that would be neat when you walk in the chamber if you had some of that stuff labeled.
Yeah, we have it, and so we're asking folks who may have memories of the chamber in different decades to come take a look. We've tried to separate
I'm
out.
trying to remember when you moved to that building.
And I
It's
found a
95.
building, or a picture of two people in front of a building that I think was the chamber, but it looked like a storefront with a sidewalk in front of it. I don't know where that was.
I think it was either downtown off one of the side chutes down there. I can't remember because they had hallways in there. You could go like to the back and stuff. The barber shop was back there. Actually, the one that was in Pine Valley when it became a non-retail center moved down there for a few years in the 90s.
I don't know, but I love history, so we're having a lot
Yeah.
of fun with it.
Yeah, it's and Oak Ridge is a historical town. That's what we got a lot going on, and it's like the history in Jackson Square is amazing if you go through it. And we've got some good events down there, I think.
Well, and we found some photos of ribbon cuttings at Jackson Square.
Yeah.
That was very clearly Jackson Square. Those businesses, for the most part, are not there now, but there's pictures of
Yes, football
Mayor
games.
Behan, Mayor Bradshaw, when Warren Gooch was chairman of
That's
the chamber.
contemporary. We got to get back in the 50s and 60s.
No, I
This-
think we've got some older photos,
Oh,
but they're
yeah.
not identified.
Oh, we'll identify. Who else do we have back there? I mean, they had football games up there that had 9,000 and 10,000 people I mean, that kept the area busy, you know, it was just unbelievable. Played teams from Kentucky. I remember Paul Horning, the great Green Bay Packer, and Notre Dame player, was here, and for Louisville Flechette, and then there were others. And people just went all the way up the hills. We had a lot more students then. We had twice as many students in those days. But it was a family event that we really enjoyed. So what are the Chamber's main activities right now? You break them into how many employees? Break down the office for me.
There's 4 of us full-time.
Okay. I know you and Bria.
Bree and Norm Nelson, he's our membership director.
Norm, how can I forget Norm?
Norm, yes.
Yeah.
And then we have an office manager, Angel.
Okay. And Bria, I know she did the Christmas parades and everything. I guess she's got an expanded role now. So.
Well, she is planning the Christmas parade today as we speak. She's trying to get 50 of our entries all lined up ahead of time and waiting for the other 50 to come. But yeah, she does all our programs and events.
Yeah, you draw a line and yeah, you do your thing. See, we usually, you know, my wife's county commissioner and all that. We usually do a couple of them, but we'll probably just help with Daniels this year. But I mean, there's a lot of room for a lot of people. A lot of elected officials in Anderson County have always participated well. And it's a difference between driving a car and waving at people and having an actual float.
Exactly.
I mean, you put
that is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It really is. So what date is that? December what? 8th?
That is it's always the second Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Always the
Good
second
news.
Saturday, so you can mark that.
Let's think about that for a second. So when is that this year?
That is the 6th, I believe.
6th? Well, I'm going to tell you this. Mathematically, Saturday can't be the second. It can't be the
That's
6th.
right. I'm totally wrong.
You know what I'm saying? If both statements are true, you know. So I thought it was the 8th. I don't know
12th,
why.
maybe?
Maybe 12.
All right, we need some.
We're going to figure that out for the end of the show.
This is embarrassing because I'm supposed to have all these dates memorized.
This is an easy going show. We're just trying to help people understand what's going on. So, what's going on in Oak Ridge? Lay me out some things to talk about that the Chamber's involved in.
Well, we've started some new initiatives that we're
Okay.
really pleased about.
All right.
One is called our Nonprofit Council. So we have developed a whole series of
Let's explain
programs for
Um,
nonprofits in the community. They do not have to be a chamber member. We would love it if they were, but they're welcome to come.
Let's pick one out of
And-
the blue. Emory Valley Center. Okay, or somebody like that, what we
Right.
could talk about, or anybody like that. What would you do for them?
So,
Or anybody.
what we're offering is a quarterly opportunity for them all to get together for a training is a big part of it. We just did one on fundraising.
That's what I'm saying. That's all they need. They need that bad. They know their business.
And so, yeah, it's more about the basics, you know, board development,
That's what they need.
fundraising.
Capital campaigns.
Yes.
How to put them together.
All of those kinds of things.
Okay.
So they'll have a training, plus they'll have some time to get to know each other because some of the agency directors, they're so busy doing what their particular nonprofit does best that they don't have time to necessarily network with each other to know, oh, I'm having my big festival this weekend. Maybe another group should have it a different weekend. And there's also some opportunities that they have where they can actually maybe apply for a grant together if they're working on a similar type of project. So
Okay.
we're hoping those relationships will evolve and that we'll see a lot more unity within the nonprofit community. So we're really excited about it. We just kicked it off last month.
Well, you know, I think that there are, we'll take a break after this, but I think I find that what's a good way to put this? The ADFAC, I always get the Family Justice Center, a few of those people that are in that type of work seem to have a good flow there. They seem to work together, teaming partners, from what I've seen. I don't know about other nonprofits that do things like Habitat or something of that nature.
Well, and there's a lot of nonprofits that are very small. They may not even have a paid staff. So they're relying
That's a good point.
entirely
Excellent.
on volunteers. They don't have the chance to have training maybe made available to them, or they haven't
like
met.
a food shelter or a food. Like St. Joseph's down in the same areas, they have the same 8 or 10 volunteers that come down, but they give away, I'd say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year in food.
Well, there's amazing things being done, but there may be a nonprofit, let's say, who works with kids.
Okay.
And then there may be a nonprofit that
And we're defining a nonprofit.
It's centered by, let's just say, with music. So
Okay.
maybe the one with the kids would like to expose their population to the music that the other one is offering.
That gives them
You
somewhere.
can make some connections there. And the music folks want to expand their audience
Right.
and teach kids an appreciation. So, I mean,
Makes
there's
sense.
a lot of partnerships that we're
Coupling, yeah.
seeing sort of evolving from these discussions where you wouldn't necessarily place two nonprofits that opposite together, but it's really working well, and I think it's going to be fascinating to see nonprofits teaming up to tackle problems.
Let's take a break. Let's get 2 minutes, get our sponsors in here, and we'll come back and talk about nonprofits for a few more minutes.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're visiting with Christine Michaels. Originally, we thought that the parade might be on the 6th, but we turned the phone upside down, and the parade's on the 9th. It's on the 9th. So Saturday the 9th, the Oak Ridge Parade.
Yeah.
What time is that at?
6.
We'll come back to that and talk a little bit more. That's pretty good. It usually gets cold by then.
Oh, yes. We've had all kinds of weather.
Yeah, we have.
Just
As long
in
as
a
it doesn't
few
rain,
years.
I don't care. Rain is miserable.
It did one year.
Yeah,
Poor.
it's unusual in December. It's usually cold enough to get, at that hour, it's usually cold enough to get a little snow and stuff. All right, nonprofits. How many nonprofits are actually members of the chamber, roughly?
We have actually over 40,
Wow, and they
Yeah.
pay how much a year?
$300.
Okay, so the nonprofit. So it'd be tough for a little guy, but not for a big guy. Like if you're Habitat or you're Family Justice or you're somebody else that's big, my mind's blocked right now. But you would, any kind of AdFac or anybody like that, you could.
Well, we break it down into monthly too,
Yeah.
if someone wants to do that, so that they can
That's
get the
smart.
benefit of it without having it be a
whole year.
painful check to have to write or anything
Oh, you say
like
you
that.
make it monthly? Yeah.
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. They're all painful. They're all painful. That's what I've learned. I think I have like 36 fixed bills, and I just, every day it's a different one. You know, you just can pay them. It's
Yeah.
easier now than it used to be. But I still take a check in the electric department because they messed everything up when they got hacked, and that was hard, so I run manual checks now. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, so nonprofits are playing a major role in Oak Ridge. They always have. We've always had.
Yes, the
People
work
here
is amazing,
Yeah.
and we've got a group of nonprofit leaders who are guiding the council, so they know best what they think they need. We're working on things like a wish list, so a nonprofit could say if they need volunteers, if they need supplies, or what have you, and then hopefully try to do some matchmaking with their businesses so that they're aware of what the needs are. So there's a lot of things that this committee is very energized. Billy Edmonds from the Free Clinic, he's the chair
That's
of
my
it.
guy. I love Bill.
Yeah, and
They do great
he's
work.
running 100 miles an hour with that council.
There's a person who does a lot of work. He does a great job. Another
Yeah.
Cofield graduate. There's a lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
President
Did not
runs
know that.
state, and my wife, and Cofield puts out some productive people. I mean, they're really, really good at what they do. There's a community that's energized around the school and the football and stuff. I've always enjoyed going over there. Tell us what else. What's next on the menu?
Well, we've been working with our small businesses. We started that council about a year or so ago.
Long overdue.
Yes, and that is entirely focused on small business.
And what does that mean? Define a small business, and then tell me how you focus on it.
Well, I mean, if you're going by U.S. tax standards, it's 500 or less. From our standpoint, it's more like 50 or less.
That's what it should be,
Yes.
50 or more.
So we're talking about very small businesses.
That's all. That's pretty much
Yeah.
everybody.
And so what we want for them is resources, networking, exposure, education. So every month they gather for a networking. It's a round robin. You introduce yourself and your business.
Do they buy from each other? Do you get some productivity?
Yes.
Okay, that's a key right there.
When we get done with the meetings, which are about an hour, we give them a light little breakfast and do the networking. They're sometimes in that room for an hour afterwards, talking to
that's
people,
beautiful.
doing deals.
You do it at the chamber?
Yes.
In the big room?
So we're seeing a lot of members doing business with members, which is awesome, and
That's the
keeping
goal.
it local. Yeah.
That's the reason I joined, because I'll get some more business and network and stuff.
And-
How often do you have those meetings?
That's once a month.
Okay.
And then every month we also choose a small business of the month. We just presented to Iris Networks.
I don't know Irish Networks.
Iris provides fiber network.
Oh, software company.
Yes.
Okay.
So they have a local rep. And so they were our small business of the month. They get a banner, they get to put in their place of business, they get a plaque, they get social media posts, they get an ad in the Oak Ridger. So we're trying to give that business as much exposure as possible. And part of it is how much do they give back to the local community? Because there's a lot of businesses out there that are giving and giving and giving and really don't get recognized for it. But that's what helps the nonprofits. So, they're kind of working together without knowing it, and we're just trying to make better connections for folks.
Let's talk about restaurants. I mean, deans, small businesses, other people like that. There's a lot of locally 201. I've been both been on a show. You got other people, Big Ed's. They don't have 50 employees. You got all kinds of little. How are our restaurants doing in the community? Do you have a feel for how our restaurants are?
Well, I know that we are very heavy on, obviously, the franchise-type businesses. Is kind of the nature of the beast.
Well, let's eliminate them. Let's talk about locally owned.
And that was kind of my point, is that those are competition for our locally owned restaurants. And so, I mean,
We don't have enough restaurants. Quality. I eat out 7 days a week, right? I eat home. My wife is so busy. I mean, from everything she does in the evenings, her work, her government work, and she has a full-time job. So, I mean, sometimes we'll buy and bring stuff home and stuff. So we're constantly, and I'm a Dean's kind of guy because it's healthy, right? And when you look at it, you go to Chick-fil-A or you go to McDonald's, where you're paying $10 or $12 for a meal. You go to Dean's, if you drink water, you're paying $15 or $14 for a great meal.
Yeah.
I'm working for you tonight, Dean. So it's just great. I mean, and the people there are super.
Well, and you've had new ones come online too.
Online,
So
okay.
you've had.
Got a worse online. That's what we used to talk. Come online means they've opened.
It means they've opened, yes. And in our era, yes.
I got you. That was a good start.
But
I got
mean,
it right away.
Fire and Salt,
Yeah.
is
Good restaurant.
filling that niche for the
I like the
certain
fact they
type of
charge a
dining.
lot too, because that means that they're sticking with their product, the value of their product.
Yeah, and the
you get some
atmosphere and the
quality.
menu
Yeah.
items and so
It's
forth.
a nice place. I like it.
And you've got, everything from off-road diner and dogs to Andy's Pizza. I mean, we've seen
Where's Andy's Pizza?
new restaurants opening.
Where's Andy's Pizza?
It's right in Oak Ridge.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, gosh.
And I go
Well,
out every
see,
night.
they're new, so that's why we're
make
trying to
unique
give them
pizza,
all
like-
exposure.
No, New York Sicilian or whatever. They more like Domino's, or are they more like Freddy's on Fifth Street? I need somebody that makes me a big piece of pizza for $5.
They don't do the thick
Okay.
kind of pizza. They're the
Thin?
thin. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not up on pizza
Yeah,
terminology.
I quit eating, so I guess
Thick or thin is about all I can do. But,
Where are they located? Your small business promotion.
I know.
Freddy's Pizza. What's the name?
And Andy's Pizza and More.
Okay, let's look at that, folks. That's like the 6th and the 9th. We'll get it. You just got to be patient.
You're setting me up here.
None really. I mean, nobody expected you to know all that. It's just one small business out of 50 you got. But you haven't eaten there. That much I can figure out.
Absolutely, I have.
Have you really?
Yes.
And you can't remember where it was?
No.
Man, okay. Well, I don't even know it exists, so I'm no better.
And we
it's
order.
a franchise.
We feed our board Andy's Pizza.
They're on Bus Terminal Road behind.
There you go.
Over across from the hospital. Ridgeway Center. No wonder you couldn't think of it. So, and that's my buddy Fangear who advertises with us. But yeah, it's right there in that running down that, in the front, right across from the hospital, right? Andy's. But it's a franchise. There's
No,
Andy's
that's it.
Pizzas all over the country. Maybe that guy's name Andy, you think?
No.
There's Andy. Picture Andy's more Chris restaurant menu. Maybe. I guess so. Well, it just when I
We
looked it
like
up, there
it.
were like 9 Andy's pizzas down the road in different cities, so I thought maybe it was a
Oh,
franchise.
no, as far as I know,
Well,
it's
promotion.
entirely
I'm going
local,
to talk
so-
about some while we're on the subject, but okay.
Just don't
So-
ask me addresses.
No, but nobody could have got that. That's where the bus station used to be. That's 50
Is that
stuff
okay?
there.
I figured there was a reason it was called
Yeah.
Bus Terminal Road.
Well, where they had Taco Bell used to be the Oak Ridge Gas Company, and then Division Court, and then here.
Oh, okay.
Before that,
All right.
at one time in the 40s, it was the jail.
So
That's where the
you
city
do
jail
need to
was.
come look at the photos
Oh, yeah, I
because
know.
it doesn't
into
look
it.
anything like that now to even
No.
tell
I remember
what
it
you're
back
looking
in.
at.
I remember when I used to load the bus to go somewhere. I mean, well, I rode buses for a while because I always thought looking out was cool. There's some kind of philosophical thing about looking in the world going by, but I can't remember what it was. But I do have a degree in history. I know a lot of history, and I was only out of Oak Ridge 20 years and I came back. So I'm 111, so that means 91 years or something like that. What's next?
My gosh, wow. So we are going to, I think I mentioned with the 75th that we've got some special things planned. So
Okay. Anything-
next year we're bringing back our golf outing.
Your what?
Our golf outing.
Yeah, well, everybody, that's good.
Yeah,
You better
so
do it in
we-
the spring, not the winter.
It's May 20th.
That's pretty good. That's a good
Yes,
time.
at
May
Oak Ridge
20th.
Country Club.
Good.
And so
What do we do? Raise money for the chamber?
It will help.
Okay,
yes.
good. That's what I wanted to do.
Yes. And we have celebrity golfer Lee Smith, who is a football player, played for the Bills, I believe the Falcons, and a few other people. He has a
Okay.
gym now that's a chamber member, and
Okay.
he'll be out there hopefully golfing with us. And so that's one thing. And then we're also, part of this history research that we're doing is to recognize businesses who have been around as long as we have and our longtime chamber members as well. So I think you'll be seeing a lot of social media activity of us recognizing those longtime businesses and so forth. So we're trying to verify as much data as we can. We've been calling our members, asking them when they were founded so that we can give them lots of love next year.
Where Jacobs is in Jackson Square, right across from the football field, on the corner there used to be Pollock's Music in the 50s and 60s, and the Pollock actually lived down on Malta. I see he's the gentleman who pulled in my driveway yesterday and saw him. So
Really?
he could pick those pictures out quick. But
We
there are a
need-
lot of
we
great
need the
people.
help,
And
definitely.
I've seen a lot of our 73 classes already in town moving around spending money. Some of them have a lot more money than me. They'll be really helpful to the chamber. I mean, that's where they're at. All right, what's next?
Well, another thing we're doing for small business is two things actually in the month of November. Of course, everybody's heard of Shop Small Saturday by now,
Yeah, we
I would
do that,
hope.
yeah.
American Express started that many years ago. But we always do a promotion, and we're doing our Shop Small Passport. So that is,
What does the passport give?
well,
me?
the passport will give you different coupons and deals
okay.
that these businesses
Local.
are offering.
Okay.
And so you can get that and go around and say,
the
I want my
passport
10.
cost me how much?
Zero.
Zero. That's our price, guys.
Zero.
Zero. So, but it encourages you to shop local.
Yes.
Okay.
And it lets you know what is available and where to find it.
And how many people in the chamber participate in the coupons?
Well, we are hoping to get a couple dozen at least
That's
with
good. Yeah, you
deals,
need that,
but we'd like to have more. We'll take as many as want to offer it. and we'll
I'll
put
tell you
them
my
up.
recommendation, and I've done this for years, is just be wary of the people that give. I always said you have to give something free. Because if you give something like, oh, we'll give you 20% off on this, well, that's what they put on the street every day. It's not a deal. So you have to kind of look at the quality of the coupon and make sure that they're helpful. That's all I get. Now, restaurants are okay with small discounts, but, I mean, other people aren't. Like, buy a pair of shoes, get 10% off. You know I'm in the political consulting business, and I've worked all over the South, and it's interesting. People ask me, how do I understand what political advertising, what makes them do the things they do? And I'll give you an example. We have a tax-free holiday in September or August, and everybody pours into things, right? If the next weekend I do 15% off of something, nobody comes. It's the concept of the brand of no taxes that draws
Exactly.
people. Even though it's less money, it's the same thing. It's all in
It's how you market it,
That's
yeah.
how you frame it up, whether it's
Definitely.
messaging for elected officials or whether it's retail businesses. Okay.
So we're going to do the passport,
Passport's
and
a great
then
idea.
we are also doing our Small Business Expo
One
again.
more question. How do I get a
Yes.
passport?
At the chamber,
You have to come by and get one.
or you can go to our Business Expo, which is open to the public.
Okay.
So I do have the date for that because it's sitting right in front of me. It's November 30th.
Got that date.
Yes, I do, and it's at the Civic Center.
Okay, that
and
makes
it's
sense.
from 4 to 7. It is open to the public. So
And what
last
do I get when I walk through the doors?
well,
What do I see?
what you're going to see is we're doing a something that looks an awful lot like Monopoly, except that's of course trademarks, but it'll be something along those lines. So like a game board.
So like when me and you go to a national show and we walk in the expo center, they've got booths all
That's
over.
what you'll
Same
see.
thing on a smaller
Yes.
basis. Okay.
So you'll see restaurants with food samples, and you'll see all kinds of businesses with some giveaways and some coupons, and we'll be playing some games. And it is a way to find out what Oak Ridge has as far as small business goes, and just go around, meet the business owners. Probably see a lot of people you do business with there.
Sure.
But that's kind of the kickoff. You can get the passports at the expo or at the chamber.
And how long are
And-
the passports good for? How long?
And we ran it right through till just before Christmas.
That's good. It needs to be a narrow opportunity. You're right.
Yeah.
30 days. That's good.
Yeah, so people
it's
can
that
use
season,
those.
right? It's that season.
Yeah,
Got to get them. Don't drive to Turkey Creek. Stay here and buy some stuff.
absolutely.
One year I did that, and I probably spent $3,000 or $4,000 in Oak Ridge, and
Good.
then I'm expanded out again.
Well, and you don't realize it until you start saving receipts and things like that of
But not
where
so- yeah.
where you've shopped outside the area and where you've
See,
shopped in.
another dated item for us.
Receipts,
Yeah.
e-receipts now, I guess,
all we
right?
get. I try to pay
So-
on my out of my wallet, and it takes 20 minutes for them to figure out how to move my wallet. So I just, here's a 20, do what you got to do. So I mean, that's all right. It was a better time. That's all I got to say.
But I think you're gonna see a lot of enthusiasm in the small business community because
Well, I think you're creating opportunities for them to get
Yes.
some enthusiasm. That's what your job is. Your
it's
job,
exposure.
yeah.
If you know that you can very easily go to a local business, then why would you drive or buy something off the internet if you can do it locally? And that's kind of the
If
message
you
that.
compete, Amazon stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And
It's
that's
very tough.
Guy started in his garage 30 years ago. It's American dream, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
that's
So
a little
good
bit
expo.
what we have.
November 30th, folks.
Yes.
November
At the
30th
Civic Center.
at the Oak Ridge Civic Center. You can walk in. I presume entry's free.
Yes,
and
it
you can
is.
walk around to all these booths, and they're going to give you discounts for Christmas and other things. Shop Oak Ridge. Okay, great.
Absolutely.
What's next? Let's take another break first. All right, to give me another break, Chandler. Let's go for 2 minutes. Recognize our people. We'll be right back with some more information from the Oak Ridge Chamber.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Hurry.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
We're back here with Christine Michaels, the chamber director that's doing more with less. We were talking about the difference of staffs over the last 5 years. A lot of public organizations don't have the resources to provide that they used to.
Right.
But they're managing their dollars better, and they're getting a lot done on a local basis. I want to put out a word for my good friend Billy at Free Medical Clinic. You've got Christmas coming up. You got to make donations. We all sit down with our checkbook at the end of the year, and we figure out, okay, what are we going to donate at the year to lower our taxes or whatever reason. And I want you to think about the Free Medical Clinic. I want you to think about giving them a donation because they do wonderful work, wonderful nurses, and I just think the world of that group. So we'll leave it at that, and let's talk a little bit about housing. You said you got some housing work going on.
Well, we do.
You always got a lot going on.
Yes. One of our many committees, but we have a housing committee for Oak Ridge.
Right.
And so that is made up of the various agencies that work on housing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's obviously the Housing Authority,
Right.
but it's also the folks in community development and planning. It's people like ADFAC that are working on housing, Emory Valley Center, Torch, working actively with the homeless. And
Good group.
Yeah. So
I'm a big AdFac fan. Yeah.
there are a lot of people trying to work on this problem, and I think that we've finally managed to get most of them to the table now at these housing committee meetings. So if there's an organization out there that has housing as its major mission, we would like to have them involved because we're trying to figure out, can we work cooperatively on any projects? Can we maybe apply for funding? What can we do? Because as much housing as we have, we're still not hitting certain price points of affordability.
We're still too high.
Well, and it's the same across the country just about.
Yeah,
because
but
in any
because of the rise in prices over. I mean, my house has gone up 60% in value.
Yeah.
My taxes are way up, but what am I going to argue?
Well,
I'm getting the
and
equity, right?
even rental rates are $100 to $300 more a month for the same
But
exact
I think
unit.
it's justified. They can't get electrical panels for a year. They can't get
Right.
stuff, materials.
And it's pushing the prices up.
Supply
and
lines are so high.
You know, we've heard some people anecdotally saying, well, you know, what good is more of this higher end housing and so forth. Well, what happens is that if people are occupying those homes and maybe moving up, they're vacating something else that hopefully could be backfilled.
Right.
And if you're going by supply and demand, the more supply we have, it should push prices down a little bit. is,
It's a little better already. I mean, I'm a north of the turnpike kind of guy. I'm an old 1950s kind of guy. And we see a lot of the old housing being repaired, getting improved. That's really what we got to do is we got to take those houses that were built in the 40s and 50s and we got to repair them. And a lot of owners have. But as that housing gets better and stronger and people invest in it, I think the thing will be better. But all the development's on the other side of the road, obviously. But that's part of it.
For brand new, yes. But we have legacy housing that is in need of repair, and a lot of times.
And what do you do for that? I'm living out here in Glenwood, and I've got a C house, and it's starting to go down. So what does legacy repair do for me?
Well, AdFac does have some programs for home repair, and there's grants that.
But how does that involve the chamber?
Well, we are the convener of the housing committee.
Oh,
so we
you
bring everybody together.
All right.
And so we try to publicize what's available. Like, for example, the Housing Authority has first-time homebuyer assistance, helping you with down payments and things like that. People need to take advantage of that and explore that. So we're trying to educate each other on what programs are out there, apply for as much grant money or what have you that we can get, and then make sure that our residents know what they can tap into. So we have put together a very comprehensive document that talks about what new housing is available and the apartments that are available. And townhomes, condos,
online?
All of that.
Oh, that's
it's online. It's on our economic development website. It's Oak Ridge EDI for Economic Development Initiative.org. And all of that is on there, or you can request it from the chamber if
What do
new.
people Google? OakRidgeChamber.com?
.org.
.org. OakRidgeChamber.org. All of this information's on there. Okay.
Yes. So you can get it both ways, but we're seeing a lot of people coming in right now from Texas, California, and Colorado.
I'm in the part of my research and part of what my team does is they go into a county, pick one, Bradley County or Meigs County or Montgomery County, and we look and we go up and walk up the election commission. How many new people have registered to vote in the last year? And the number's astronomical. It's not kids turning 18. It's people moving in, and literally these communities are growing 1,500 to 2,000 people every 2 years. It's amazing, and they're coming from the Midwest and the North, and they're getting out, and it's really kind of interesting because conservatives seem to be moving to rural areas, and we'll call them progressives for lack of a better word, and from the cities are moving into our cities. So it's kind of split. The research is interesting to read. In my business, you got to know that stuff. But,
yeah.
It's interesting. But it's true. We have a lot of new people. You're exactly right. And that's where Chamber comes in. If you drop me into Topeka, Kansas, and I'm just picking a town, first thing I go is Chamber of Commerce. That's what I did in Gallenberg for years. If I had a question about Gallenberg, I went to Chamber of Commerce. So right when you come in, I go in the building and ask questions.
If we don't know it, we'll find out who does.
They're always kind and helpful.
That's why chambers are there, really, to make those connections for people.
When was the first chamber in the United States? Do you know?
Oh, gosh, I believe that was in New York City.
Makes sense.
The first one ever was in France in like the 1500s.
We're not counting. I'm French. We're not counting that. What about in the United States? In the United States, it was like before the turn of the last century, before 1900. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They've been around for a while. I mean, they might have been called boards of trade. A lot of places had boards of trade.
Yeah, okay.
But same difference.
Okay. What's
same
next?
purpose.
Okay, you got some housing.
So what we decided to do is a little bit of a spin-off to that is to recognize commercial property owners who have beautified their properties. So either someone who's consistently maintained and done landscaping or facade work or something like that.
I'm voting for R&R. I'm voting for Chin. Those guys have done, maybe they're too big, but those guys have, when you drive down the turnpike and you look at their structures compared to other developers, they're on the top of the list.
So the first, and we're not doing any private residences, just to clarify, but our first winner was ORNL Federal Credit Union. Obviously, their landscaping, the murals that they've sponsored and so forth like that. But people can nominate, and they can go on our website, and there's a form to nominate. And we have decided, though, you made a good point, because somebody like R&R, that has multiple properties and so forth, really can't compete with a small shop owner who's done a great job with their business.
Well, show me one.
So we're going to do categories.
Use the word consistent. And from the 90s on, the Chimp family, they've just been consistent. And you don't see any poor quality from the UCOR buildings to the residential Main Street lofts to Oak Ridge Turnpike. I mean, I might say they've been the most important family in Oak Ridge in the last 30 years. I mean, just in terms of keeping our city beautified and moving in the right directions and everything. And
well, and they've borne a lot of risk to make it happen.
Yeah, they
and
sure have.
It's been incredible.
And there's
what
been
they've
others.
achieved.
There's been others.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been others that have invested in the city too. All right.
So we're going to continue with that, and we're going to create two categories. So it'll be one for smaller businesses, and then one for larger, because we realize that
makes sense.
Yeah.
Split them up. Plus, you get 2 awards. You get 2 people to say thank you.
Exactly.
That's exactly. What's next?
We want to recognize as many people as we can. So
I like it.
Well, we're still active in our government affairs committee.
What does that do?
Well, they meet every month, and they will have speakers that range from elected officials, appointed officials, economic development. We've heard from private companies. We had our Register of Deeds. We had our 2 new city councilmen.
Sheldon can talk now. He's a client of mine. He can talk.
Well, it's been really interesting to get to know them more personally.
Yeah.
We had Trey Hargett come for breakfast.
Trey's a good guy. He used to live here.
Yeah, and he talked
End.
about his employee voter registration campaign that he's doing right now.
Right.
And so that is how you would access what's going on, primarily local and state government-wise.
Right.
And hear presentations on those kind of things. And we do a joint breakfast with the other chambers last Friday of January every year, and invite our legislators to come out and see what we have to say and what positions we're taking on the issues and so forth.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And isn't there a legislator breakfast once a year?
That's
with
the one.
McNally and Reagan?
Yep,
And they
that
come in
is it.
January or February or afterwards, after the session?
It is always the last Friday of January.
Okay, so it's in the middle of the session. You
Yep.
can have comments and feedbacks and stuff on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So we're working on that.
Okay.
And we also, in the last year, there was an organization called the Oak Ridge Human Resource Association. It was a nonprofit.
Okay.
And it was local human resource professionals, kind of like SHRM, if you've heard of that, Society for Human Resource Managers. It was kind of a chapter along those lines, and but it was its own freestanding thing for Oak Ridge. And they began meeting at the chamber after COVID. COVID was rough. I mean, everybody pretty much stopped meeting. And they said, we'd like to start back up again. And we did it in partnership with them. And it went so well that they have actually now formed up underneath the chamber. And it's called now the same initials, but it's the Oak Ridge Human Resource Alliance.
Well, that's a good
And every month we've got someone coming in to talk about HR law or how to retain, how to attract, employee satisfaction, those types of things. So if you're an HR practitioner, you come, or if you're a small business and you can't afford your own HR practitioner, this is kind of the way to learn about it as you go. And so that's a lunch meeting. You pay for your lunch, but other than that, that's open to anyone to come out and learn more about workforce development.
Let's take the last 10 minutes. Let me do some spot questions. Tell me about Methodist Medical Center and what you know. I mean, how's the relationship with them?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Their CEO is on my board,
Who is he?
Jeremy Biggs.
Okay.
And so
I haven't been involved in 10 years.
we just helped them actually celebrate having their first residency program has now opened up. So that's going to bring
residency for pharmacy, surgical.
I think it's for GPs. I'm not
General
positive on
practitioners.
that.
That makes sense.
But it's exciting to
So if
have.
they go to medical school at LMU or Memphis, or they can do their year of residency at the Oak Ridge Hospital.
Yes,
Okay.
and we find that when someone does their residency, they're more likely to
Sure.
then locate
'Cause they get to-
permanently.
That's because of their networking. Sure.
Yes, so we're very pleased with that.
That's a good move, yeah, for recruiting people.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I have had positive relationships with Methodist Medical Center over the last year. My wife has had lingering COVID effects, and I've had knee surgeries, and I haven't really had any. I haven't had the problems I hear about. I've heard a lot of problems over the time.
Well, I'll tell you.
If I have a heart attack, drive me to Park West. That's the most normal.
Well, my boyfriend, though, had a very serious heart condition. He had a quadruple bypass right here at Oak Ridge, and he's doing great.
Who was his doctor?
A new lady,
Okay.
Rapstein, Dr. Rapstein.
I don't know him.
Came into
That's
the
good.
Methodist
Good.
practice. So,
Well, Dr. Randall Robbins replaced my knee, and I went to Methodist, and he said, let's just go over there, Alan, do the robotic surgery and get it done. And so I trusted him on that. So they were very nice to me. I had very good results. I'm only there but they all were very
well, I
pleasant.
couldn't have asked for
It's the
anything
overnight
better for
stay that I
him.
think, and I just don't know the answers to investments by hospital systems in certain hospitals and the quality of patients in each hospital. I mean, it's not the doctors and nurses of the care, it's the investment in the upgrades in the hospitals and different things. But I think MMC is making an effort to do a good job, and I need to compliment them for that because I see more positive things going on.
Yeah.
In that sense. What else we got before we finish with parades?
Our leadership program has kicked off.
What's a leader? Okay, now we have the
Leadership Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
So that's run by the Center for Leadership and Community Development.
Okay.
And that is sort of a sister organization to the chamber, if you will. But they have a class of about 30 to 35 every year that go out and learn more about the community.
Yeah, my
So-
friend Jane from Doubletree over there is in it this year, I
Yeah.
think. She does a great job.
Yep.
Jane said, she does a great job. She's mentioned something, she had to go out of town. We were planning an event, and I do several events over there. And she said, I won't be here. I'm going to Nashville or wherever all you took them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that was good. So we've got that going on. Tell me more about, you had some more comments on the parade you wanted to talk about. before I
Yes,
messed you up.
actually, I am thrilled to say that the last few parades that we have done have been our largest ever. So
Yeah,
we've
they've
had
been
about
130.
110 entries. It is free to enter. We do not
Free to
charge
enter.
for that.
Free to enter.
But of course, we end with Santa and we start with the mayor, who heads things off. But we've already got 50
Good.
already, and we have and I'm going to need to read it, but we have everything from of course the Oak Ridge High School band is always a favorite. Our theme this
They do
year
a good job.
is sleigh ride.
Let me just say.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting what we get for floats, but we've got the cheer team. We have our bagpiper back with the Bucketeers. We have something called Belly Rubs Basset Rescue. That sounds fun. We always have some animals in there, too. Sit means sit, dog training. That'll be fun. The Junior ROTC. The Rotary Club will be back giving out books to kids, which is awesome. The Breakfast Rotary. Let's see. Freedom Medical Clinic's going to have its mobile clinic unit in the parade. We always have a bunch for kids because I loved trucks when I was a little girl. It was not dolls, it was trucks. And so we've got wreckers, we've got all kinds of trucks in this parade.
Where's you from, the Midwest?
I'm sorry?
Where are you from, Midwest?
Upstate New York.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep. Our lending institutions are coming out in full force. We've got the Fast and Classy Car Club.
Okay.
We've got the Children's Show Choir. So there's going to be a lot of music. And, of course, our Public Works Department, I can't say enough about them, and the police helping us to make that thing happen because that is...
It's huge.
It's a
The parade and the
big
fireworks are the two big
endeavor.
things, that's
Yes,
it.
and
And
we
I
could
have-
not do it
I
without
have a
them.
notable, I'm in communications with the Grinch, and I think the Grinch will be back for the Oak Ridge Parade, negotiating a free agency contract, but we're going to
I
get the
see.
Grinch back this year, I think.
All right.
I don't know the Grinch. I don't know where they'll appear in the parade, but the Grinch may be back. I will show you that. Chandler, let's get one more break in, then we'll say goodbye in the last segment.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
All right, we got 4 minutes left of camera time, so we're going to turn it right over to her and talk about what's coming up in the next 30 days in October at the Chamber. What do you got, Christine?
All right, so we got some good stuff coming up.
All right.
On Tuesday the 10th, we're going to have the...
She's sharpened up on her calendar days,
because
folks.
I've got the list. I've got
Go
a
ahead,
cheat
that's
sheet.
it.
So
That's all right.
we on the Bridge, which is our Zoom-based membership call.
Okay.
We've got the UT Law Enforcement Innovation Center going to be talking about what they do. That sounds pretty fascinating to me.
Well, in football season, it's real fascinating because they're busy on football Saturdays.
Oh, I bet. Yes. So that'll be on the 10th. You sign up for that online on Zoom. Anything I'm mentioning, oakridgechamber.org. There's a calendar.
Oak Ridge Chamber, all one word, .org.
Yes. Our small business networking that we were talking about is going to be October 12th.
Okay.
So, and that again is every month. It's from 8 to 9 right out the chamber.
Thursday.
Yeah. And we have a special presentation between our human resource folks and our advocacy committee. There's some new changes being proposed.
Define advocacy committee.
Advocacy is our government affairs.
As members of the chamber that serve on this committee, what are you advocating for?
Well, we are learning about some new proposed regulations about whether somebody's a salaried worker or whether you have to pay them overtime and so
HR
forth.
stuff.
So
That's
Wimberly
important.
Lawson is coming in.
Okay.
The legal experts in HR law.
Okay.
And they'll be educating us on that. We've got a ribbon cutting over in Knoxville for ServPro, one of our members, a new facility there.
Okay.
And then the fun one is October 19th, business after hours at Calhoun's, 4:30 to 6:30. That's going to be fun. Come over.
You buying the drinks?
I believe they're providing a limited amount of them, yes.
And Oak Ridge, the Calhoun's in Oak Ridge.
Absolutely.
I was going to say earlier, when you talk about restaurants and availability, try getting in. People talk about how hard it is in the economy. Try going to Calhoun's and or Aubrey's at 12 noon on any
Right.
day of the week. You can't get in.
It's a beautiful venue, so please come out.
It is. The water's pretty.
And then we close out the month, October 24th. We're doing workplace fire prevention with the Oak Ridge Fire Department. And it's amazing some things that can get you in trouble at your place of business that can be fire hazards. And we're going to talk about, for Fire Safety Month, how you, and hopefully reduce your insurance liability too by taking some of their advice. So
That's good. They do.
we've got
lot
a
of that.
full month.
Tell me about on Calhoun's. That will be held in the restaurant itself, or that will be held in this separate room to the
I
left?
think that's going to be over on the side in the conference meeting area there, but that's October 19th.
We got 1 minute.
Come and check us
Has
out.
the number of chamber members grown in the last 2 years?
Yes.
Okay, so it's getting a little bit bigger and everything. So what does it cost to be a member of the chamber for a regular person on the street?
It's usually about $420.
Per year?
That's our base rate. A year from whatever month you join.
Public officials getting cheaper than that.
If they're
Elected officials.
considered like a nonprofit or something
Yeah.
like that, it's $300. Yes.
Okay.
So it's a
And they have access
buck
to
or
all
so
the
a day.
chamber advantages, right?
That's
They do
correct.
that.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Sell it to Norm. Bria's my favorite. She does a great job with the parades. I mean, 2 years she's
Yes.
done it. Just great. So she gets
Fantastic.
everybody lined up. Done a very good job. So we're about ready to run. How much we got, Chandler? 10 seconds. Thanks for coming. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate you. If we can do anything to help you, let us know.
You do.
And if you got any promos or anything we can run on the show, we'll be glad to do it for you free. Thank you, folks.